Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Today is Sunday, March 12th. And, recently I did a video on George and Kellyanne Conway's divorce. And there's another, prominent Republican couple that's getting divorced, and that's Marjorie Taylor Greene and her husband, Perry Greene. Actually, they announced in September of 2022 they were getting divorced, and it was finalized September 2022 and finalized in December of 2022. In looking at just sort of be brief background, I had to get freshened up on it. Might as well share the information with you. The two of them met in college. They got married while they were in college. I believe they were both got degrees in business. They started working at her father's construction company, Taylor Construction. Perry Greene was, I believe he's a financial accountant. He got named president or CEO of the company circa 1999. And it sounds like they purchased the company in 2002 or so. That's what they've been doing. That's how they've managed to amass their wealth. In 2012, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I believe, filed for divorce or petitioned for divorce after it was revealed that she was having an affair with some fitness guru and then like a gym manager. But the couple reconciled later. Again, though, her husband filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Of her husband, she said that he gave her the best title in the 29 years that they were married, that of mom. They have 3 kids. They all appear to be all adults. I won't be reading or talking about them unless it pops up in the reading, simply because they've not been out there in the public supporting their parents or supporting their mother's political career, unlike, say, the Trump children. So to me, they're off limits. They're out of bounds. I'm not going to even discuss them. The husband's comment on the divorce was that, for 29 years, he was married to his best friend. Irreconcilable differences. Now, I get that. Things can happen. Things can change. Especially if your spouse is going down the QAnon rabbit hole. It's unknown what his political leanings are. All his social media is pretty much locked down tight. There was like one picture of him wearing an OAN or Newsmax shirt. Okay, so maybe not. Who knows? What I want to find out is I just want to get a background as to what led to their divorce, and then I want to get each of their opinions of their spouse at this point. This is going to be a gossipy one. Sorry, sue me. We do a lot of news on political stuff. These are political figures. Well, we'll look into it. But I also want to see how it ties into her national divorce rhetoric that she's been spewing recently. Does her own personal divorce somehow tie into this national divorce? And let's be really clear. National divorce is a way for saying, insurrection or civil war or secession. They want a bloodless civil war. Ain't gonna happen. Now, to be fair and everything, I seem to recall back in 2016, 2017, after Trump got elected and started implementing some of his more horrific plans, which would be like all of them, there was talk about California, Oregon, and Washington forming a separate country, or California seceding from the Union, and Gavin Newsom pretty much squashed that very quickly. And it kind of felt good to say it, just because you felt powerless to watch this tyrant just run roughshod over people's rights, and it felt like something you could do about it. I don't think many people in California really wanted to secede. It just felt good to threaten it. There was nothing behind it. And it might be the same thing for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She may not really want to secede, but it probably feels good, and for the people that support her to want such a thing. The only difference is that where it's just California seceding, they want basically all the red states to secede. Ain't going to happen. Government's not going to let that happen. And why that doesn't disqualify her from serving office, I think it's the 14th Amendment. I don't know, but I know she'll fundraise off of it. That I do know. And also with her I would say this, you know, her words are horrific. It doesn't even matter if she believes them or not. The mere fact that she's saying them and people listen to her and she has power and influence, yeah, she's gonna have to answer for that one. It won't be likely be in our lifetime in our court system. It's gonna have to be in the afterlife. And again, I wouldn't trade my afterlife life review for hers at all, ever, even in my worst behaviors. Okay, so first off, let's look at what happened with Perry and Marjorie Taylor Greene's marriage. What happened? Can you give us just some insight as to what went wrong? Juggling. Okay, well, one of the things I think that the central thing that's probably going to come out of that, there was a lot of juggling and turmoil going on. She's in Washington. She's not being a wife to her husband because she's off doing her own thing. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, so we've got the Six of Pentacles, and we're going to cross it with the Hermit card. And underneath it is going to be the Ace of Wands. Okay, so just starting off, it's about money and truth. So I think what's happening here is that this might be one of those plays where they're protecting assets. The husband is understanding that maybe the wife is in some financial difficulties and he's trying to secure his financial future. The same thing happened with Don Jr. and his wife when they got divorced. A lot of speculation because she came from a very wealthy family. A lot of speculation. She divorced him in order to protect her finances because if Don Jr.'s finances get taken by the government, she wanted a hard break from that so that she's not left destitute because of his bad behavior. The Hermit card is also, it's the truth and seek the truth coming. No, light is coming on their financial situations. So it sounds like it's a money thing. And strong action had to be taken to address this. This might be done to protect the kids. And again, you can have some kids on the ground there that they give the money to. This might very well be a protection thing to protect their family money inheritance. In the past is the Death card. Likely that is the end of the marriage. They may have reconciled in 2012, but how do you trust somebody after they've done that? Not once, but with a couple of different people. Now, if the husband was having some issues and he wasn't being a good husband and Marjorie Taylor Greene acted in kind, then that's one thing. You can kind of work on that. Maybe that's what happened. But I think in the end, they both knew the marriage was over and had been over for a while. Now it's just going through the formality of legally ending the marriage. Maybe at that point they were living two separate lives. But so by the time they got divorced, marriage was dead. And there it is. There's the current situation, the family money. Yeah, they're worried about the family money and they're protecting the family money. They're protecting the inheritance and the intergenerational wealth of the family. Clear as day. Couldn't have picked a better card. Okay. Kind of the energy is the Eight of Wands. This is something that happened quickly. And I think it did happen quickly because certainly there was no scuttlebutt. There was no gossiping going on in the news or something along those lines. And again, they announced in September and they signed the final papers in December. Now in California, they require a 6-month cooling off period. In the article I read, it sounded like in that 3 months, they just had to figure out how to divide up the multi-million-dollar estate. So I don't think anybody was lacking finances. It might have been just how do you divide up the company or the profits of the company. But whatever happened, they moved quickly on this. And the message was the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so this is kind of, I think what this is saying is her behavior. She's brought in a lot of money, both through the family business that they bought out, plus her fundraising. But I also think that fundraising is maybe under scrutiny, and they know it's under scrutiny, and they're concerned that money is going to be taken away. So they moved to protect it. sneaking off. Now this, it's funny. The outcome is the Seven of Swords, the sneaking off card. Um, double meaning in this one. First off, for me, this card almost always means affairs. And it could very well be that she continued extramarital affairs. But I think this is trying to hide that money. This is sneaking off, trying to pull a legal fast one so that they can protect this money, so that when the government comes calling and tries to confiscate their properties and their wealth, it's been legally protected. And again, underneath is the Ace of Wands. So I think they saw something coming, so they did that. So yeah, her infidelity probably played a part in. I think all it did was ensure that the marriage was dead. But they stayed married out of convenience and out of financially, and now they're getting divorced because financially it makes the most sense to get a divorce. So in a way, it supports the comments. The public comments they made were probably true. When he said he was married to his best friend for 29 years, that could very well be true, because they didn't get divorced out of lack of love. They got divorced to protect their money. And she said that he gave her the greatest title in the world, that of mom. Well, that's great. That's true. That didn't change with the divorce. She's still mom. They still have 3 kids. But some people just stay married because it's just easier that way. They've built up the social networks, they built up their finances, and maybe they live separate lives and stuff like that. And, they're just a couple. It's comfortable. But in this case, I think for entertainment purposes only, probably financial reasons. So these next throws shouldn't be too controversial, I wouldn't think. Too controversial, I wouldn't think, if I'm pronouncing that right. Okay, so what does Perry Greene currently... Now, what's his opinion of the divorce with Marjorie Taylor Greene? Now, we're 2.5 months past the final divorce papers, 6 months past when it got announced. What are his opinions and feelings of Marjorie Taylor Greene and the divorce? I'm curious. A little 4-carder on that. The Lovers still likes her. Still does things with her. She's still. It sounds like she's still a part of his life. That's what that initially tells me. There's the sneaking off. They had partners in crime. Partners in crime. Here comes the government. I shuffled these cards. I did not put these cards in the same spot. Okay, and underneath it, the happy family card. Okay, so he still loves her, still likes her, likes being around her, and underneath is the family, protecting the family. And why are they protecting the family? Because here comes the government. Why is the government coming? Because they're trying to sneak off doing things that they shouldn't have been doing, and there's family money tied up with it. So what does he think of Marjorie Taylor Greene? He still likes her, and the only reason why they ended that marriage, or one of the main reasons why, is because the government was coming and they knew it, and it made financial sense to do that. Okay. It's nice when the reading supports itself, isn't it? All right. Now again, I put those cards I literally open up the deck at different spots and put the cards in. There's always a chance that when I've done that, I'd cut the deck again in the same exact spot and put cards on top of each other. But I do shuffle, and I do overhand shuffle, so I do try to put some distance in them. But thank you, Spirit. I do appreciate that. You're making it easy on me. I always appreciate when things are made easy. Okay, so what's Marjorie Taylor Greene's thoughts on her ex-husband? Yeah, that card really wanted to come out. Oh, let's see what happens. What do we got? Oh, betrayal, disappointment, heartbreak. Maybe she didn't really want to. Judgment is underneath it. Ace of Cups, King of Wands, and the Justice card. Okay, there's disappointment. I don't think she wanted to get divorced, but with justice coming, it made the most sense. So this was not a heartfelt thing. this was a logic thing, and center underneath it is the Ace of Cups. I think she really likes her husband. She didn't want to leave. Now, I don't know how you have an affair and do that, but whatever. Yeah. Maybe he broke her heart, and that's why she had the emotional affairs or the physical affairs. Who knows? But judgment's coming, and King of Wands is probably him taking the action. I suspect, and he did. He filed for the divorce. So now it could be again, filing for the divorce can be a mutual decision, but one person has to be on the paperwork to say that they are initiating the divorce. Regardless if both people agree, somebody's got to be on the paperwork. So he was the one that filed that paperwork. And again, I think judgment's coming, and the betrayal is there could be somebody who, we know what makes more sense, that there's somebody ratted on him. Somebody ratted on him, and then they got tipped off that somebody ratted on him, and it's going to cause really strong emotional feelings because judgment's coming. So the husband made a choice. He's the one who had to make the choice on that one. I don't think she made the choice on that. So that makes more sense to me, right? This something that happened out of their control, and they just had to react to it, which is why they had to move swiftly. That Eight of Wands. So, okay, interesting. Certainly interesting. Okay. Now, again, this is going to be a longer reading, but that's fine. We're asking lots of questions, and all on the same subject matter. Well, shifting gears a little bit here. Anybody curious to see if I'm right? Did somebody rat on Marjorie Taylor Greene? How about a little one on that? Okay, segue. This one wants to be on top. Magician. Burden. Fast. Wheel of Fortune. Somebody found out something. That magician is somebody found out something and shared that information, and it came out really quickly. It was very hard on them, but it was inevitable. It was bound. Whatever information got shared, it was going to come out one way or another. And again, the magician could also be the master of illusion. So it could be somebody who's been lying for them, finally stopped, or that was covering for them. It got revealed that they were covering for them, and so they started spilling the beans as to what's going on. So, okay. I mean, not that campaign finance is ever an issue, and nobody's ever stealing money from their campaign finances, right? Excuse me, I have a cold. No, I don't. Corruption. All right. So now I don't think this is going to be too connected. Well, it could be. So now Marjorie Taylor Greene keeps saying that she wants a national divorce. I guess her own divorce was such a great time. She wants to have a national divorce. Now, for most people, anybody on this feed who's had a divorce, I think most people would not recommend it. They would not wish it on their worst enemy because it's a miserable thing to go through. Probably even good ones are miserable things to go through, and harder ones are even more miserable. So why would Marjorie Taylor Greene be advocating for a national divorce? Is this just another way to raise money? I guarantee you she's raising money off of it. It gets her infamy, it gets her airtime. She'll get invited to conferences because she's going to provoke people and get a reaction. And then I'm sure if I went to her webpage, I'd find a big campaign button saying, donate to Marjorie Taylor Greene to help to get a national divorce or something like that. This one wants to come on top, so we're going to do this one. All right, here we go. What's underneath it? Finding from a place of advantage. Why is Marjorie Taylor Greene advocating for this national divorce? There's that disappointment versus judgment. Okay. I think maybe this could very well be just trying to figure out a way to stay relevant. She didn't get named Speaker of the House, and you have to keep creating headlines. So with the 3 cups down, this could be that, maybe with the Republicans in charge of Congress, fundraising has started to decrease for her. And she wants that attention, so she has to come up with something to get that attention and money. Now, it's crossed with judgment. She could very well have some legal issues coming up, and she's trying to divert the focus. I mean, that makes more sense, right? It doesn't make sense to me, though. I mean, the political people all say that. If you're getting bad news, try and deflect with something else. So, Tucker Carlson putting together his January 6th videotape so that the messages of his text messages saying how much he hated Trump don't get covered as much. Does that work? Maybe. So I think maybe she was trying to deflect on some other information that's coming out regarding judgment on her. So in the past, moving out of troubled waters, that could very well be the, it could be reverse, moving to troubled waters. But I think this is just stirring stuff up. Things are, to me, this is more, things were calm and she needs to stir stuff up. Or things were calming down, maybe more to the point. She had enough turbulence and enough argy-bargy, if you will, turmoil going on, and things are calming down. So she needs to stir the pot again, because if you stir the pot, then that's how you're going to get the money. So she has to come up with a new emotional message, a new outrage to throw to people. And you remember how they were blaming the Democrats wanted the second Civil War? There was the Democrats are trying to start a civil war. Who's the one that actually announces that they want a national divorce, aka bloodless civil war? That's the messaging. So come forward with this new message. Let's see how that plays out. How is it going to play out? Well, the light's being shown on it. I don't think it's resonating like she wants it to be resonating, because it's crazy talk, right? Go back into crazy cave. The country is trying to move forward, and she's trying to drag it back to the 2018 rhetoric of the Democrats trying to start a civil war. Here comes the justice. Okay, this is also the light starting to reveal. Some of her bad behavior is going to be revealed soon. And Department of Justice, and it's coming for her, and she's trying to distract. That's what it is. She's just trying to distract. Outcome, King of Cups. This could be Biden. In this case, this could very well be like the Merrick Garlands of the world. I actually would call this Merrick Garland. This is Department of Justice coming. And underneath it all is fighting from the high ground. So she's trying to stay on top of everything. She's trying to still be the king of the hill, but in some ways this is an upward battle, because while she can fight it off for a while and she can distract for a while, justice is coming. It's just so darn slow. Okay, so why is she wanting national divorce? She's trying to hide up her bad behavior. Things got calm. Justice Department started to look at her. It affected her marriage. At least I think it impacted her marriage. And now she's trying to, rile up the people, maybe using that as a smokescreen, or make her so dangerous that the Justice Department doesn't come looking for her for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so my readings on those, yeah, interesting. I would have thought that maybe you wouldn't want to be married to a crazy QAnon person. I wouldn't want to be. But my values are not their values. So, that's their choice. They get all the benefits and all the consequences of their choices, as do we all. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this very long video. Give it a thumbs up, a like, a share. Leave comments in the comment section. And I hope you have a great Sunday afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.